Quite an eventful week. This is, let's be real, of course. I don't know whether you had a week where the lights were out. I didn't know whether you managed to see your noses, ladies and gentlemen. How was your week?
It was also quite eventful,
Yeah.
including the blackout.
Karim,
That was probably the biggest event for me was the blackout as well. Just how long it lasted, but yeah,
what?
definitely eventful.
I hope you did your business, though.
It was kind of hard to do business, but I definitely purchased the power station. I purchased the power station. Yeah, so it won't happen anymore. So yeah, I have backup now. So yeah.
Of course, I'm with the usual suspects. Lisa Christopherson, please introduce yourself.
Hello, Lisa Christopherson here, and it's wonderful to be back and be real again here on KTN.
Karim?
Yes, my name is Kareem Austin. I'm a sociologist as well as a business owner, and I'm happy to be here again.
Of course, I'm CEO Charles Otieno. I'm your host. And let's dig in. The first thing we want to look at is this blackout. 24 hours of no lights,
Including the airport, I hear.
including the airport. And then the Sudanese group who claim that they are responsible for actually switching off our power lines. What do you guys think? Has it ever happened before, either in Tanzania? Karim from the United States, have you ever seen something like that?
I've heard of things like that, and companies or organizations have taken claim to causing the power outages. Maybe like they send a bunch of signals to the system and it shuts down. So I've heard of things like that. I've never experienced it for this amount of time, this long amount of time, So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Sudanese, they're claiming it, but who knows?
So would that mean that the Sudanese hacked into the power system
That's what they're saying.
and there's no evidence?
I think that the power issue is always in Kenya is very volatile. Remember that most of our power we buy from what we call IPP, independent producers. And our main power line is from Turkana and Uganda. So what I got is that beyond what they're saying that the power just someone might have interfered with, I was talking to one of the directors of Kenya Power, and they told me that one of their main lines had an outage. The transformers of their main line from Turkana, the windmill. So there was an overload in the system. For me, it looked very creative, but he's saying there was an overload in the system, so they had to revert to buy power immediately to move the lines to. When that overload comes, it interferes with the other lines. So it shut all the lines. But countrywide, because of it overloads other systems. But then they're saying they try to get power line from extra power from Uganda.
Uganda, right.
They had to purchase, but
did they help them? Did Uganda? I heard we didn't receive any help from Uganda, correct?
Yeah, we didn't, because the power line still couldn't. To stabilize it takes a lot of time. So it took a lot of time to stabilize the power line. What I know is that the Kenya Power MD is a great man. The person appointed by President Ruto, he's called Sigor. He's one of the guys I would vote for. He's a wonderful gentleman. He knows what to do. He's not corrupt. Among the leaders we have in that, and this is the first time I'll say in Kenya Kwanza, I've never been in support of the regime, but the person President Ruto appointed as the Kenya Power MD, that gentleman known as Sigor, is incorruptible. He's a great man. He's a decent human being.
It's
but
good to hear.
It's unlike other people he's appointed. That guy is a decent guy. He knows he lives by a value system anyone would aspire to. But my problem is that in Africa, when such things happen, there must be a cause. Someone might be trying to move some money across the systems, through some channels and you do not want to be detected. So we don't know whether that was also part of the deal. But we'll find out maybe after a week or two.
So the airport lights went out too as well, right? The power
Yes,
at the
yes,
airport
yes.
went out as well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of suspect, right? That doesn't.
It rings a bell that
right.
what was people passing in this at that time
Right.
for
Yes.
30 minutes?
Exactly.
Because remember, at the airport, if the lights go off, the generators are supposed to kick on
Right.
immediately.
Immediately,
It's,
yes.
it's, yeah? So the generators went off for 30 minutes as well.
Right. At the same time of the power outage, which
Yes.
I mean, how much did they smuggle in? That's the question.
But it's also a high security risk if you think about
yeah,
it.
it really
You're
is.
in a high sensitive security zone, such as an airport,
Yes.
international airport, and there's no power. There's a
I
complete
know.
blackout. International visitors would
They
freak
can't
out.
fly in, they can't fly out.
Right.
Or you're stuck in the departure lounge,
Yes.
or a Java coffee house somewhere.
And then the redirections because the planes cannot land, so they have to be redirected. So what
And
I heard was
you can't redirect them to any other Kenyan airport.
Right.
You have to redirect them to Tanzania and Uganda.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Or South Africa even.
Yeah.
I heard they were sending people to South Africa, from my
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah.
Ain't crazy. And I was having a big event on Saturday night
Yes, yeah.
at Mawimbi, and I just thought, this is going to affect us. But thank goodness they had a generator, a backup generator, so we were good.
Yeah.
So I think what we can say is that we have to mitigate the future. I think Kenya Power has to come and explain to Kenyans and tell them that in case of such incidences in the future, is it possible for us to mitigate such risks? Because there's just these financial loss, these people, their babies, the saddest part is that in Embu Hospital,
I was going to say.
we
hospitals.
lost like newborns, like 4 of them, 3 of them.
Yeah.
Across the country, many hospitals which had people in ICU actually lost their lives.
Yeah.
And it also talks about our disaster preparedness. How do you put a 4-star, or not a 4-star, a level 4 hospital without any power backup? As in, even ICU without a power backup?
Yeah. That doesn't make any sense.
No, that not at all.
Yeah. So,
There's a lot of thought that needs to go into this.
yeah, I think we need to just grow up and realize that this is crazy. We cannot allow such an event to take place again. And by the way, diversify. Instead of depending on
what?
go
Just
to wind.
one.
Yeah.
Right. The monopoly.
This geothermal, have different lines.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Windmills, like in Denmark,
Yeah.
the country's full of windmills
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many ways that also to maybe have a private sector come in and do power.
Yeah, but you see the private sector, we have the IPs, independent
Yeah.
power producers, IPP. But their problem is that the cost is exorbitantly too high.
But that's why they need competition. You need to have more IPPs there so that there's more competition. That will reduce the cost.
It'll take infrastructure for that. And the only infrastructure, from my understanding, is Kenya Power, right?
Yeah.
So that's the only infrastructure that they have to run their energy through. So it's going to take a lot to stop this monopoly of, Kenya Power just being the only power source that we rely on. So
But I also would say that, we would encourage Kenyans to consider solar.
Yeah.
The sun
I
shines
agree.
how many days a year here? Come on, guys.
I agree.
We need to put solar on our roofs, solar everywhere.
But the problem is that the solar fee is very high. I think we need to make it to a manageable level.
But it's the initial output,
Yeah.
and then it reduces. So once you've paid the initial expense to install the solar system in your homes or offices or commercial zones, then once that's done, then it's actually very, very cheap.
Have you ever installed in your areas of
Yes. Yes.
in Nairobi?
Solar on our roofs.
Yes.
Yes. Also for your hot water as well. How are you going to heat your water, electricity? It's the whole complex thing, but solar is the way to go. It's the future.
yeah,
Okay, I think we agree that it was a mess.
definitely.
It was a messy, and the Sudanese people, please, if you tried to interfere with us,
Leave us alone.
leave us alone. And Kenya Power, please pull up your socks. Please make sure that you have your staff right. You have a great MD, but you know, we know that the people who go on the field are not as good as the leadership. You remember the ones who go and disconnect your power lines.
Yes.
They do very many bad things on the line. I think we move on to the next topic. The next topic is this week, Babu Owino, a good friend of mine, Embakasi East MP.
Ooh, the
The
one
man-
that goes clubbing.
Yes, the man who was in a club in 2020, and I think there was an incident at B Club, and one of the DJs was shot, but it has, the judge passed the judgment. We are not going to say whether we know that the court of law is the final, whatever they say is final, but it is seen that Babu was let free, scot-free, of charges of attempted murder, shooting incident, and even many other things. What is your take?
Well, he didn't like the song the DJ was playing? Clearly. The wrong music. First of all, what is he doing going out in public with his gun? First of all,
Yes.
you don't go into a club with a gun or a pistol, even if you have a permit for it.
Yes.
You leave that at home,
Yeah.
you know? So, I mean, that was very wrong. And it's not an example as a so-called leader for your country.
But he's been let free. The judge says that he did not commit any crime.
Well, maybe he should go to another court.
Why?
It's wrong. I mean, he's done something wrong. It's a public thing. He could have killed the guy. I know the guy survived. The DJ did, thank goodness, survive. But it's attempted murder.
Well,
Karim.
I wasn't there, so I don't know the exact details of what happened. But I will say that it's never a good deal when the police police the police, if that makes any sense.
Police the police.
Yeah, that's never a good deal. It's never, it never turns out, it's never fair when the police police the police. You see what I'm saying? So like, it's never fair when it's broke down that way. So no, I wasn't there, so I don't know. But
No, neither was I. But I mean, if somebody tries to shoot you, no matter where you are, at whatever time of day, it would seem to be attempted murder, right?
well, it depends on what's the purpose. Was it self-defense? What's the details of it? You know,
Okay, what happened, Karim, was that B Club is a very big club in Kilimani area. So they were having a drink, and then the gun went off. And the DJ, is called DJ Evolve, was shot on the neck. So he's paralyzed. I've spoken to him the other day. I know him. But he can't move still.
Oh, no.
But he can play a bit of music now. But I think the judge relied on the, you see, the police and the investigations. The investigations brought forth the gun. There was the cartridge, which was dispensed from the gun, is one of the exhibit. The police who is investigated didn't bring it to the court. The witnesses of the event recanted the testimonies. The DJ himself wrote an agreement and said that the man, the MP, didn't shoot him.
he didn't.
He didn't.
Yes, he didn't. So the MP had spent 58 million in treating this gentleman by that time. Babu Owino spent around 58 million to rehabilitate DJ Evolve. So you see, the judge relies, in any court of law, the judge relies on evidence brought forth.
Right.
So when you bring the evidence, and the evidence has, you remember that in our legal system we say beyond any reasonable doubt. So now it seems that the accused, the prosecution could not prove the case beyond any reasonable doubt because one, the witnesses have recanted all their statements. The police didn't pick the bullet to match the gun which it dispensed it. The DJ who is shot has claimed that
This guy didn't
this
shoot
guy
him.
didn't shoot
Didn't
me.
shoot.
So why as a judge, how would
Yeah.
you,
Well, yeah.
you understand?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely understand that.
So now Babu Owino gets out free because of all those factors that are supposed to be against him are for him. So the judge is left with a case, yes. But in American system, in the jury system, for example, see, our court system is not like the American jury system. The American jury system where you collect 12 people or 13 people who sit in a corner and they listen to the case.
Right.
And then they would come and say, chief, even if this guy, due to the interest of the court, we cannot let this guy scot-free.
Right.
But remember our royal system, which is from England, it's about proving beyond reasonable doubt, and there's no jury
Well,
to decide.
it sounds like from what you were saying that he was just basically paid off. Somebody paid him to shut up. You know, like the DJ. I'm talking about the DJ.
Yes.
You know, he was paid to be quiet. That's what it sounds like to me, just from the information that you just shared.
But for example, so he's saying that he got shot,
Yes.
and it wasn't the MP, right? So
Yes.
who shot him?
He doesn't know who shot him now.
He doesn't know now.
Yes.
That's a miracle.
He doesn't.
Money will make you forget some things. Yeah, money will make you forget who
Huh?
shot. Money will make you forget some
But
things.
you're paralyzed.
I'm saying money will make you forget some things. That's all.
So
Because
That's very
if
interesting.
you come with one statement, right? If you go to the police and you're like, look, this is what happened. This man shot me. And then 3 days later or however long later, you go back and you say, hey, okay, this is not what happened. That's
So
kind
his,
of, that's
so
very
his first
fishy.
statement was what?
the
The
That-
first statement the DJ wrote.
you see, the first statement, the statement he recanted. The first statement was that he was shot in a club while doing his job.
Yeah.
He didn't name anybody or
He didn't.
he didn't? Oh,
Yes.
okay.
He refused to name because after that time he was taken. Remember, the CCTV cameras in the club show clearly. Even the CCTV cameras disappeared, which show clearly this guy being shot. Shows the DJ standing next to the MP and falling down. And then after all of a sudden, the head of security of the club recanting the statement. Can you imagine how miracles are big in this country?
That is a miracle. And there was not even a blackout.
There's no blackout.
Wow.
Gosh, interesting.
So I think, but what we need to look at is that it seems that if you have money, then justice, you can evade justice, you can bend justice, and you can actually get your way out easily, as compared to a poor man who steals maybe a glass in a supermarket, because you would not have the avenues to know all the tricks in the
Yeah.
book to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we moved to the.
Next one?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the police uniforms.
Ups.
Oops. So I see that they're trying to get new uniforms for the police, for the ladies and the guys. Light blue color, but also where their names are actually inserted into the uniform so they cannot be removed. So immediately you get approached by a police officer, you know the name is there, so they can't remove the name tag, which I think is a good thing. So I personally think that what would be a fantastic idea before they actually say this is the uniform design for our police officers in Kenya is to all Kenyan designers to come up with a competition. And the best designer gets an award based on the votes for the winner, for being the winner. You've got to remember there are also many female police officers out there. And what has not been designed to date is a maternity outfit, a uniform, a maternity uniform for the female officers. And that is something that needs to be considered, and not just wear the trousers, the shirt, and the jacket equivalent to the gentleman.
What I don't understand about this police uniform, I understand when they changed it to the deep blue. And the psychology was, remember the police is a union of two forces. This is what we call the administration police, and what we have to call the regular police. The regular police were the guys who were in the police stations. APs were the people who guard installations and war-torn areas like the northern part of Kenya. That's where they were based. But now they wanted to bring the police in one system under one command. Remember, initially, Kenyan police had different command. So they wanted to have two commands, a single command center. And since they had different uniforms, AP had different uniform from the regular police uniform, they decided to have one uniform. So that if they had changed the uniform and said that they go with the AP uniform, and the boss is a regular police officer, then it would have looked that they're taking precedence or preference over one unit over the other.
Right, right.
So they decided, well, let's have one uniform, which now unites the people as one force. Totally understandable.
That's a good idea.
What I do not understand is that 3 years down the line, we are trying to revert to another uniform. For me, this is a very simple, and it just shows that someone has seen a way of where they can make money. Remember, the uniform, the new uniform, we have enough police officers. So when you bring that uniform, they are not given that uniform for free. They buy that uniform.
They buy it, right.
So they buy uniform, they buy the shoes, they buy, and you need 1 or 2 pairs. So someone has seen that if I have 100,000 police officers in Kenya, how much money will I make? Just change the uniform then.
Yeah.
But I do not see the need of changing the uniform and put it through what they call public participation. There is no public participation when you take it to the police. They've taken it to Kiganjo and DCI headquarters. Members of public cannot go to Kiganjo to go and make their vote count that I like that uniform. First of all, Kenyans have an issue with the police. They do not like going to the center police stations. So you're telling them to go to the police station to go and make their choice and say this is a uniform they want their officers to wear.
But why can't they do an online voting system?
They wouldn't, because it's a way to make money.
Well, whoever votes, as long as they vote no pockets for police uniforms, and I'm fine with that.
You see,
No.
the pockets is not even an issue. The way Lisa is saying that they'll have their name not to be removed. The
Yes.
police are very ingenious. They will get a way of fading out that name out of that thing.
You're right. I mean, they are very creative.
Yes.
Indeed, but I think it is one step to make it, stronger, the statement stronger, so you can't just remove your name tag and lend your uniform to your friend.
But it's good to have a uniform. But that uniform you're getting to our national police must always be something, okay, then give them for free.
Yeah, don't make them pay for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give them for free.
Yeah.
They can subsidize it and maybe seek support from organizations out there who could maybe support it. But again, going back to my suggestion is that I think they should reach out to Kenyan designers and say, if you're going to change our uniforms, why don't you involve the designers of Kenya to be part of it and make it a competition?
Lisa, you're not understanding this. They will not come for designers because you're making it too transparent. Well, the
That's the
person
whole
who's
point.
bringing that, changing that uniform, has a cut. I will go get it from China. You give me this. It is just a color they want. They do not want any designer to design for them. They're just changing from a blue to another blue. Have you seen what they're trying to do?
I have seen that.
Yeah, they're not
exactly.
trying to change it to make a fundamental design change to it.
But they could do a change to it, modernize the shirt a little bit. For example, so you're not copy and pasting from this shirt that they've had maybe since the 70s to date. That's what I'm saying. Bring in the Kenyans, and I'm asking them, can you bring in Kenyan designers to create a competition for the Kenya police force, for him and her, and ladies with a maternity outfit?
You see, that's how a straightforward lady thinks. But someone who's thinking of making money does not think like that. The moment I bring in designers, what is my margin? My margin will go down. What do they need?
You got to pay these top designers too.
Yeah, too.
Pay them big money.
Yeah, so why are you bringing them? And even that maternity, they'll tell you, maternity for who?
But that, from what I understand, is an issue today. They're not taking into consideration the female officers, when they get pregnant, they can't keep wearing the same trousers. You know?
It's not comfortable, right?
Well, no, they're not maternity trousers. They are actually requesting a maternity outfit. So that has to be taken into consideration.
We hope that the government will do that, but I know that the way we are wired in a way that the person who comes up with the tender has always thought beyond, does not think about the comfortability of how the uniform fits. He thinks of how to make his money fast. He doesn't think that, or she doesn't think that women will go on maternity. And that's why they have never thought about it.
No.
Remember that subsequently, since Kenya Police was founded, there's no maternity uniform for the Kenya Police
But
women.
you also have to look at it today, that there are many of the big bosses within the Kenya Police Force are women.
Yes.
They are women. And, you know, they know what women's needs are. So if you want to join the police force, it's fantastic to have all of these ladies there. But they do get married and they do get pregnant. So you have to take that into consideration.
It depends on who is bringing the uniform. Not who is wearing the uniform. The wearer might take that into consideration. But the person who is purchasing the uniform is single-tracked.
Well, we can all agree that we definitely need to be more open-minded when it comes to the police uniforms.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. So.
Well, take us to a break.
Yeah. So it was nice definitely talking about that uniforms, and we'll be right back on Let's Be Real.
New Superstay Vinyl Ink from Maybelline, New York. Shake up your long wear with no budge vinyl color. Color lock formula. Up to 16-hour wear. New Superstay Vinyl Ink, Maybelline, New York.
Welcome back. I think we've been having great conversation. Of course, in the first part, we discussed about the police and the uniforms. We've also discussed about the power outage, which was in our country last week. And we are getting much into many other discussions. But before I throw it back to you, Karim, the police, apart from the uniform, I think that this week we saw that Kenya Kwanza government decided to remunerate the policemen so that they can fight this inflation. And I've always been asking many questions about how well should we remunerate our policemen and policewomen? Because one of the biggest problems is that if you go to the police headquarters, and you'll find that many police officers live in very bad places. The housing is not good. There are those ones who live in those metallic, I call them tin houses. Others, the prisons are not well accommodated. So if they are given enough money, then some of the police officers can manage to afford to live outside the barracks, the police stations. The same way we remunerate our soldiers well, that you do not see soldiers living in very deplorable conditions. So I think our police officers need to be well remunerated so that they do not stop Lisa here on the way for something small. Do you know, have they asked you from America?
Definitely. Definitely. As soon as I came into the country.
Yes. What did they ask you? Kitu kidogo?
So when I first came into the country, the passport guy got a little something off of me.
Yes.
And then, you know, just being stopped by the police randomly, of course.
Asking for chai?
Yeah, you know.
Liz, have you given chai?
Never. You know, I know how to talk. So naanza kuongea Kiswahili, mambo ya chai ni nini, hata mimi nakunywa kahawa tu.
Yeah.
You know,
And
and
then-
just talk to them. And I've realized that many times it's just having that conversation. You ask them how they are, umetoka wapi, where are you from, uko na watoto ngapi, and suddenly they forget why they stopped you.
And then you just move on.
Then you just go. So, you know, it's just one way of communicating with them and distracting them with conversations, you know, or telling that female officer, mrembo, you are beautiful. And they're like, thank you so much. And I'm like, hi, have a nice day, and I drive off. So never, never. I will never succumb to that because I don't believe in it. And no matter what, yes, you're doing your job. You're getting paid. Maybe not enough. However, asking the public for kitu kidogo, as you say, it's not correct. And I don't support that whatsoever.
But do you think that they need to be...
I do. I think they do need to be paid properly, so like they can afford good, healthy, hygienic living conditions. And also, we just talked about the uniforms. They should not be paying for their uniforms.
Right.
Or their shoes, you know.
Right, I agree.
That is something you want to work publicly. Like for me, when many years ago I was working at Copenhagen Airport for Scandinavian Airlines, I was given the uniforms. We were given X amount of trousers, shirts, skirts, jackets, and sweaters. Everything was provided for us. So the same should be with the police.
Lisa, what were you working as?
I was called in the initial traffic assistant. So at Copenhagen Airport, one day I would be in the departure hall checking people in. The next day I would be boarding aircraft. The third day I would be on the speaker, you know, doing announcements. Ata kwa Kiswahili, I was the Kiswahili translator.
There?
There. You know, if how many Kenyans, not only Kenyans, Swahili speakers, even Congolese, wanaongea Kiswahili, and they don't know any other language except their traditional language.
Lingala.
So Kiswahili, I was the official Kiswahili translator. So I loved working at that airport because you moved around. Even I got a driving license to drive on the platforms where the aircraft are, so I could take passengers, VIP, straight to the aircraft. So we moved around, and it was a wonderful experience. But the uniforms were provided, and they were designer uniforms by Calvin Klein on top of it.
So you want our police officers to wear Calvin Klein? Are you guys serious now?
Hugo Boss.
Yeah, Yves Saint Laurent.
No, but they definitely, the police officers definitely need to be compensated. I mean, they're risking their lives for us each and every day, to be completely honest with you. I think with the social structure, a lot of positions are mixed up. Like teachers, that's another profession that you can look at and kind of say, yeah, they need to be paid a little bit more, you know, and then we wonder why education, you know, is failing in certain countries. It's because we're not paying, you know, the people in the right positions the money that they deserve. But yet we'll pay an athlete millions and millions of dollars, you know, when what they're doing, it is entertainment, but it's not, I don't think is as important as saving a life or putting out a fire or teaching the youth when they come up, you know, to, the next generation. So, yeah, I think it's kind of unfair. It's something that we definitely need to work on as a culture.
I think, and Karin, when you're talking about that, you can take us to the next topic on...
Yeah, so going to the next topic, which is scamming. That's something that's big, that's going on nowadays. Everybody is getting into fraud and scamming. And a story came up where a foreign lady has been working with Kenyans here, and they have been scamming. They have been doing bank fraud, and they have accumulated billions of shillings into this bank account. So another incident where a Nigerian guy, he sold a fake airport to the... I'm just stating the facts here. He sold a fake airport to some Japanese businessmen. So I guess the question is fraud the way to go nowadays? Is that something that you find that's picking up nowadays, or does it pay? Is it something that you would involve yourself in?
I think one of the biggest problems I have is that, you see, for you to be, first of all, defrauded, is you must be greedy.
Greedy.
Yes, you must be greedy. Because I have never understood how people are defrauded so easily, because someone comes and tells you, I have an airport. I'm selling an airport. You have never been to that country. This is a Nigerian you've never met. We call them Yahoo boys. You've not met this guy. He tells you I have an airport. It stands on this area of land. It has these houses. It has this terminal. You have not taken a chance to go to that country where you're being told this airport exists. You have not even used even Google Maps just to show you whether it really, really exists. Because there are very many tools which you can check. So from where you sit, you're already greedy. You are thinking of owning an airport. And secondly, you've not even asked yourself, is it possible to own an airport in a foreign country without looking at the laws and regulations of that country? How can an individual just walk in and tell you that he can sell you an airport and buy? So that is one. The second bit is, and this is what very many people have been conned, the gold business. The gold business is where people are scammed left, right, and center. Someone tells you I have gold. You do not have a measuring tool to know whether it is fake or not. Then he tells you, send 30 million, then you wire the money and you've not seen the product. Then the money disappears. You start saying, oh, I was conned. Because of, I think, that greed element is what messes up everything.
Yeah.
Let me give you a story. You know, there's this athlete, the American basketballer, Dikembe Mutombo. Dikembe Mutombo played in NBA. He came with American basketballers. He went to Congo. And they decided they were going to buy gold worth $1 million. $1 million. So they land in a private jet in Congo. And then they decide to go to the area which is this part which the rebel M23 are the most predominant army. So they buy the gold for $700,000. They remain with $300,000. When the gold was being brought to the plane, the Congolese army heard that these gentlemen are going to get out with the national resource. So they come and to attack these other rebels. So the gold disappears. And these guys are taken in. They are flown back to Kinshasa. The $300,000 disappear.
Has disappeared as well?
Yes.
As the gold?
That one also disappears.
Why?
So he went to the Congo for nothing.
So all these people who came to Congo went for nothing. Now, the narrative is created by the Congolese media that that gold was shipped to Kenya. It was not shipped to Kenya. Then a narrative is that the president had flown to go and look for his gold, which came to Kenya. All that was fake. But what I'm trying to say is that people always fall for these tricks because they're greedy.
Yeah, it's greed, and I like to add another point to that. It's also desperation, because there's a lot of people who fall victim to fraud who have nothing, right? And so they advertise the fact that you can get something out of nothing. So you come to us with nothing, and we're going to give you the world, you know? And so out of desperation, a lot of times I find people fall for fraud as well. Maybe they're on their last leg or their last shilling, their last buck. And they're like, oh, okay, you know, I need to flip this, or I need to make this stretch.
They say, what have I got to lose?
Yeah, what do I have to lose? So let me go into this get-rich program, or let me, let me invest into this scheme that, if it sounds too good to be true, let's be real. You know, you need to start looking at that sideways. Most of the time, these get-rich scams are too good to be true.
How many of us have not received these emails from somebody, and it's always a Gmail account or Yahoo, that, you know, I'm the so-and-so and, you know, we've inherited $4 million. If we can channel it through your account, you will get X percentage,
Yes.
right? I mean, delete, delete, delete. But somebody, going back to the Japanese who spent, was it $242 million
Yes.
on this fake airport? You have to give it to the Nigerian. His creative juices were overflowing. The Japanese guy, on the
Yes,
other hand,
right.
if you are of that league, surely you have a very good legal team working with you
Yes.
as your advisors,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
So you would have thought his lawyers would immediately have said, picked up on this, this is not right.
It
you
doesn't
said, a
even add up.
Nothing adds up in that whole
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
I'm like you. Give it off to the Nigerian guy, man. Hats off to this guy.
They
This
are
guy
boys.
is a champion in my book to sell a fake airport to somebody. Like, who can do that? That takes skill, okay?
It sure
Even,
does.
you remember that he's the second guy, Hash Papi, who was arrested in Dubai, sold another airport to some Brazilian bank as well.
A fake airport.
Yeah, Hash Papi did in Africa from nowhere.
Everything's possible.
But that was now a Brazilian bank, not even an individual.
Right.
So, but where I say I find it very funny that even the Kenyans, the local Kenyans, any ordinary mwananchi in this country, someone tells him, I can wash for you money. Have someone told you, bring 10 million, I'll make it 20? This
No,
wash.
We've heard of the wash guys.
Yeah, so now, and you agree, that person who is telling you to bring a 10 million to make it, there's a case in court, and I won't say, there's a senator in court right now who went to one of the Kenyan top schools and is a lawyer. And that's what I'm saying. I don't understand how people are conned easily. He went and sold his land worth 70 million and gave this person, we call them wash, to multiply it for him to 240 million.
How did that work
Go and
out?
sell your land for 70 million. Bring and give an individual to multiply it for you. And then the person disappeared with the money. And then he's in court saying that when I like the question, the judge asked him, you went to a school? Yes. One of the best schools you went in this country? Yes. So you got your money and gave that man to multiply it for you? Yes. To do what? To build a house. Why didn't you just build a house with that one? No, I was cheated. He told me he will multiply it to be 240 million.
How would you multiply it?
Wash it.
With Omo?
There's some detergents.
Some detergents, right?
Yes. You take the 70M.
Where? Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what you say, highly educated people
Yes.
do stupid, it's really stupid things with no logic.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no logic, and it's not legit.
I think, for example, people who really do those things, is this desperation.
Yeah. Greed, like you said, greed and desperation.
There's desperation.
But if you have 70 million, what's the desperation?
You want to build he wants to build a tower with his name on it.
Okay.
Like Lisa Christopherson Tower, 240 million.
Namna hiyo.
Yes.
Must be a narcissist person.
Yeah, that's definitely narcissistic.
Right.
A tower.
Let's move on to the next topic. So this week, I don't know whether you've gone to our passport control, the immigration department. A few years ago, before Kenya Kwanza took over a year ago, basically, there was a gentleman, the people who worked at the passport control were mostly intelligence people. And it was easier for Kenyans to get passport because the people who worked in that department did not know each other. Because members of the staff, some of them were seconded from DCI headquarters. So if they saw you taking a bribe, you didn't know whether he's actually a worker or he's a police officer.
So like
now
insiders.
So there was a lot of sanity for the last 4 years, and the head of immigration was a gentleman called as Muteshi. Muteshi, I knew him. I think he came from the intelligence. Very fast guy. The passport, there was no delay in passport, and people would get their passport in a week. You just apply, everything was online. You never interacted with any person to get your passport. But now the new regime checks in, and the first thing they say is that all the police officers to go back to where they belong. So eventually, the people in areas like passport control realize that, Karim was a police officer, is left. Now, the person who is here is like me, is an employee. We can do our deals. So now the deal starts happening. So the passports, the delays begin as the way they used to be. Now, there are Kenyans, 58,000 Kenyans have applied for passport who are waiting to get their passports. The passport control can only release 5,000. That means 53,000 people are trying to get creative ways of getting passport. That means they are trying to bribe to get the passport, because now a bottleneck has been created. Remember, it was efficient. Now it's no longer efficient. That's why the interior, the cabinet secretary said that it is a crime scene. The spot is a crime scene because people are not getting their passports. People are waiting. People are bribing.
It's ugly.
It's an ugly scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ugly.
So I don't know what you guys think.
Me personally, it's like I said, it's ugly. It's not fair. It's not fair for the people who are going about it the right way, right? They're going through the system the right way. They're filling out the application. They're not paying any extra money or anything. They're expecting to get their passport in a certain amount of time. Now, from what I've studied or what I've researched, it's a huge backlog on this, right? So it's people that's been waiting months, if not, over half a year for their passport. And maybe they have family in another country that they want to see or something like that. So it's not fair. I don't think it's fair that the people are being pushed in front because they have that extra money, to pay, or to pay somebody up under the table so they can get their passport sooner. I don't think it's fair to the people who has been waiting for months or, even a year or so for their passport. So I don't think it's right at all.
No, I mean, it's super inefficient as well. And what is exactly needed? Do they need more manpower? Do they need more equipment? Because I understand now that they're working more or less round the clock to try and expedite the demand of passports that need to be issued.
But you see what happens is that initially, if it is manpower, it is the same manpower which was there. If it is the requests which are made, it's the same numbers. The population has not increased by 10%. This is gradual. You can tell how the population has increased, the numbers of requests. Passport is decentralized. The problem here is a problem in Kisii, is a problem in Kisumu, is a problem in Mombasa, because it's a decentralized system. So what I'm trying to say is that I think what has happened is that people have become creative. Create a bottleneck to make money. Remember, initially, that place had been cleaned of corruption. That it was, you go and apply online for your passport.
Yeah.
You go behind, take a photo, everything is attached. You wait, and you're given a waiting list.
Yeah.
And at a certain time, you're told, come and pick your passport. It is ready.
It was more efficient, too,
Yes.
from my understanding.
Yes.
When
I
it
went
was
through
less
that
corrupt.
process.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now what someone has become very creative and created some bottleneck in saying, instead of this system moving seamlessly, because remember that time, the people who worked in that department did not know where these other characters are from. If you are seen on the floor taking a bribe, you'll be arrested.
Absolutely.
But now the people who are the police officers in the system have moved back to the DCI headquarters. So now the characters inside there realize, it is Lisa. I know Lisa. I know Karim. They are not police officers. I cannot be arrested. Let's create a bottleneck so that we make money.
So all this is created
Yes,
to make money.
of course. It's just created to make some funds beyond so that you can bribe your way. But the sad bit is that there are many people who ask for passports because they're going to look for medical attention.
Absolutely, yes.
And 90% of them cannot access medical attention out of the country because they have been there. Some people have died there. We know some cancer patients who cannot go to India for treatment, for example. We know some people who have some conditions like organ transplants, which were supposed to go to, and they can't get because their passports are not ready. The people who are supposed to, their minders cannot go with them. So it creates a lot of inefficiency. The inefficiency actually has caused a lot of deaths because of you
That's not right.
people who are going to get 5 or 10,000 extra from people who can afford.
So
Yeah.
Charles, let me ask you here. So there is no system where there's like you have priority for let's say medical emergencies, that is a priority, that you have like an express priority lane, so to speak, you know what I mean?
I do know what you
How do you
mean.
have, like, for example, many people who apply for visas, they need to go to India because the mother is dying, they need that visa, for example. There isn't a way that you can get that as a priority because of your reasons. So if it's medically reasoned that you need that passport, they should attend to it. They should have like that priority lane
It's not there because remember, how do you apply for your passport?
online.
Online.
Yeah, but you can, again, online, you have your areas where you can actually comment and say, you know, why
Yes.
you need that passport.
But you see now the comment will come, the person who is checking, you remember it is not you who is telling that gentleman that, you know, I'm applying for this visa, for this passport because my mother is totally unwell and she needs surgery in 2 days. The person will just read and check and say, these people might be creative. Many of them have these medical issues. And they
Yeah.
talk communicating to someone you don't know, Lisa.
We have
Yeah.
something like that. Like I know in America, something like that is set up where, like you said, if your family member is sick or something of that nature, it will be expedited for you. Like
Yes.
you will have to provide some type of medical documents. Now you will have to provide. You just can't go to them and say, "Oh, my mom is sick. I need this expedited." They're going to say, "No, we need some type of documents." But if you can provide those documents, then you will be pushed up in front of the line.
Yeah, you get priority.
From but you also have to pay more too. So it goes back to money. It goes back to money.
It's that
'Cause
vicious
Yeah,
cycle.
it's that vicious cycle of
Yes.
if you can pay like you weigh, then you can stay.
But what we can say is that we just need to sort that mess. Our passport, we cannot talk about one machine or 24 hours. We have enough labor in this country for people to sit and go through. Passport should not be something you wait for a month. It is a paper. It is a 32-page paper, a 64-page paper.
Right.
It is nothing.
Yeah.
It is just a paper. I do not understand why we put so much emphasis on a document which is supposed to help you access and do business.
And you're paying for it also.
Yes.
You're also paying. It's also costing
Yeah,
money
it does
for
cost. Yeah.
So the
not
government
cheap.
should not give us excuses on waiting for 2 months. A passport should be applied for a week and the next week you have it.
Bring the
Absolutely.
guys back. Just bring the guys back that was snitching on everybody.
Yeah.
Just bring them
Yes.
back.
Bring the police into the
Bring
department.
them back into the
That's
system.
what they should do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we move to the next topic, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's move on and let's be real. So we're talking about relationships.
Yes.
We're back to that.
Yes.
That seems to be one of our favorite topics each week. Yeah, I mean, I've heard of this lady who met this guy, and he proposed to her, and she just said, "Hey, my friend, just wait 10 years. Let's just wait 10 years and see how this relationship evolves." So the guy actually waited, and 10 years later found her. She was still not married, and what do we say? They live happily ever after.
That is the biggest nonsense I've ever had.
I'm glad somebody said it.
That's the biggest nonsense I've ever had. if someone is not ready, we are not living in the Bible times. It's not Jacob going to look for Rachel and Anna.
I want some history here. Come on. You are my favorite historian. Mix some of that into this conversation.
No, I just don't understand why you should wait for someone for 10 years to get married. 10 years. Assume this man is 20. He's 30. Mm-hmm. Assume this woman is 20. She's 30. The gap for you for raising children without medical and your most productive time is between 10 to 20 years. The rest of the time you cannot. So what are you going to look for?
Who knows if she even wanted children? She's willing to wait 10 years for the guy. Maybe she wasn't planning on having children at all.
No.
That guy is a simp, okay? That's what we call a simp.
A
Meaning
simp?
a simp, yes, that's what we call a simp, meaning somebody who just takes anything. That man just took anything from that woman. 10 years is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Like studies show, this is my sociologist coming in,
Yes.
but studies show that it takes 3 months. 3 months is really all you need to determine. And I know a lot of guys might beat me up over this, but 3 months that's all you need to determine if somebody is suitable for marriage. So 10 years?
Really?
Oh man, yeah, 3 months.
3 months, that's it?
Yeah. Psychologists, sociologists,
But
3 months.
So these 10 years, what will you be doing, waiting for?
Right.
That is, I have to say, that is, this is the first and only story I've heard like that.
I think
And it's not, there's something again that I don't feel is adding up. And no man would wait 10 years. He would have moved on with many other women.
even no 2 years we can't.
Maybe he
No.
did. He did. Maybe they both did, and then they came back to each other after exploring and seeing what's out there. They see it was nothing out there, and I don't know.
It is why I'm saying this is total madness, because the way people are wired is relationships is based to help each other. So when someone tells you you can't get married and you had made a decision you want to get married, for you to wait for 10 years, it means, first of all, you're not serious. Mm-hmm. You're not serious in that. Just recently, last week, there's a young man who committed suicide in Ruiru. He was an evangelist, a young man who was supposed to marry the next day.
Mm.
Now, what happened is that they went with the bride and the best man and the best maid. They went for a drink. The next morning was the wedding. Mm. So I hear that night, and that's why I'm saying this is nonsensical, because that night, this man, I think the woman developed cold feet, the bride,
Mm-hmm.
and told the young man that, who is a pastor, that I think our marriage should not go on tomorrow. Why don't we wait for 3 months so that I'll be ready? The boy was totally disturbed. So he went home, locked himself, took yogurt and mixed with pesticide and drank, and threw the key to the mother's balcony. People are waiting in the church for the wedding the next day, and the groom cannot be found. So they decide this guy is not picking his call, and what they go check into the house, they break in, they found him dead.
Oh.
So this is what I'm trying to say, that it is always very difficult when someone has made up his mind to get married and you turn him off. Or like now, this young man was sure he's getting married tomorrow. The bride says, no, let's give it 3 months. He committed suicide. Now, this other side, you're telling us this man was told, wait for 10 years, and he was very ready to wait. How?
Well, I mean, he was told, are you willing to wait for me, for example? And he said, yes, I will wait for you. So if you've had that conversation, like this bride-to-be with the pastor says, look, I'm not ready to marry you tomorrow. Let's just wait 90 days. I think that's very reasonable. Rather than jump into something that you're not sure that you're going to do, you're going to be happy with.
My problem with this girl is that why lead this young man until the wedding eve, then develop cold feet.
It's a very sad story, and now she's got to live with that.
Yeah. Why do you tell someone you've gone, you've picked their bridesmaid, you've picked each and everything, the cake? Because remember, when you're wedding tomorrow, everything is ready.
Everything is ready.
I understand both sides on that story that you just shared. For the simple fact, from the woman's standpoint, it's kind of like at least she did not go through with that wedding, you know,
Yeah,
and have a marriage where she was unhappy. And
Yes.
of course, the husband will be unhappy because he has an unhappy wife, right? So it takes a lot of strength and, you know, it takes a
guts.
lot of courage and guts on the same day of your wedding or the night before to say, you know what, I can't go through with this. So she had to be feeling something inside, deeply, truly inside, for her to do that. So I understand both sides, I do. And then I also, you know, I have some remorse for the guy, right? Because, I mean, to be left at the altar on your wedding day, I mean, how horrible is that?
But also, I would say this, that if you're marrying somebody, surely you would also know if he's a very sensitive creature, that he, it's maybe the wrong thing to say, to talk to him like that at that moment, and know that he might be doing something foolish, such as taking his own life. So surely you should know the person you're marrying
Yeah,
properly,
yeah.
and know whether, you know, this is the right conversation to
Yeah.
have or not.
Have some sense of emotional intelligence, right?
Yeah, or have that conversation a month before the wedding, not 24 hours.
No, less than 24 hours before the wedding.
It's terrible.
Yeah. But 10 years waiting on somebody, that guy,
That is just a simple. He doesn't know what he wants.
that's horrible.
Unless he was so besotted with her that that was the only woman that he ever wanted to share his life with.
And I think with that situation, it's a difference between waiting and patience, right?
Yeah.
So I could be patient with you, right? So I can like you and still date other people while while I like you, you know. Okay, I like you, but okay, you're not ready, so I'm gonna continue.
with other people.
Yeah, I'm gonna go continue to do what I do, and then when you know, if I'm still available and my heart is still with you when you're ready, then we can see what's going
Good
on.
for all.
Yeah, we can, but you know, I might not be available, so.
You see why what I was saying about biblically, in the Bible times, there are very few women that if a woman tells you to wait, you had to wait. The availability of people to marry were not as numbers they are today. If you look at today, if you are going to look at the beauty, there's a book, an African book, we say the beautiful ones are not yet born. Every day you'll find a beautiful girl in the street. If you are looking for education, they are educated. If you are looking for a body size or a body type, you'll still get it.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's intelligence, they are intelligent.
Yeah.
So you cannot say that this specific person is the only person you'll see in 10 years.
Right.
Because the character, the education, the skill set, all those things you're looking for are available in very many other people. So now I think this man, for me, is not just being real.
No,
It's
he's
not
not being
real.
real at all, because I think women have more tendencies, are known that they can be alone for years.
Yes.
Whereas men cannot.
Yeah, that's
they
true.
have those wandering eyes.
That's true.
You know, and they love women. They love beautiful things.
Of course, if you don't love a woman, you have a problem then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a very interesting subject.
Yeah.
So I think we can say that if you're a young man out there and you want to get married, do not be hindered by just know what you want. Do not, if you're going to wait for 10 years, you must have a proper reason. But 10 years is such a long, long time to wait for someone. It's long. You might change your mind, and we must also factor very many things in that. Relationships is about how you want to live, how you want to grow. If you want kids, how you want to develop, and many things. It is not you and her coming in together. When you come in together, there are many other things. Because if you get kids at a later life, there's a problem there. Maybe you will not educate them the way you want. You have to put another 10%. If you're working in a formal job, remember your retirement is in 55 years. If you're 30, you get married at 40.
But there's a lot of things to factor in.
There's so many things you factor in.
But also today, I would say to anybody out there, young, you fall in love, we want to get married. Don't rush into marriage. Get engaged and stay engaged until you really are certain that he or she is the one I want to spend the rest of my life with. Because marriage is a commitment. It's like a contract. You sign that contract.
It is. Yeah.
And you are committed for the rest of your life, as the Bible says, right?
Yeah.
So, stay engaged for as long as possible until you are kabisa 199% certain that you are now ready to take that commitment, which is marriage.
But me, I believe in polygamy as well.
You're very naughty.
Me, I support polygamy 100%.
Ooh.
Because it is a white man who lied to us, these Muzungus.
These Muzungus?
Yes.
Who's that?
The Muzungus.
Adam.
The Muzungus who came and told us you must marry one wife and then they divorce. Us, we don't divorce in Africa.
No, you just have all of these shingikis on the side.
No, not on the side, we marry.
You marry?
Let me quote
How many wives have you got? Now tell me, Charles.
One.
One?
Yes. Well, let me quote Karim. Karim said that cheating is a poor man's
polygamy.
Yeah,
it is. I totally agree. And I support polygamy as well. I feel like it's going to actually grow as we move forward.
Polygamy is
in
good
civilization. Polygamy will grow. So, yeah, I agree.
Lisa, don't you agree with polygamy?
I'm sandwiched here in between the two of you. It's like surround sound.
And don't you think it's Muzungus who brought polygamy?
They did. No, they did, absolutely, yeah. And they, you marry one guy and you stay together for the rest of your life.
But Muzungus marry one and leave.
Yeah, they marry one, they leave.
They marry another
again.
one and leave. So then they have polygamy in a shorter way.
In a shorter way, and you end up having all these different names because you've married so many
people.
guys.
Yes, so you marry. In us, when we marry, we do not leave. We just add on top.
I think a big part
you just add on top.
Yeah.
Unaongeza tu.
Unaongeza wawili, watatu.
So you have one wife here, another wife here. So do you all live together on one compound?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So they all have Mabenzis because one cannot have a better car than the other?
Yes, you have to give
true.
them the exactly same car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which is why it's very difficult. That's something I kind of steer away from that. Even though I support polygamy, it's something that I wouldn't automatically jump into.
Can you imagine having 4 wives and all the
That's why I
problems
wouldn't-
and the
and
drama
that's why-
that
yeah.
some of these women bring?
That's why I said I wouldn't jump right into that. It's something you have to really think about when it comes to polygamy, and it's not for every man. You have to be really put together.
And you have to be
take
prepared
for
what comes with it.
Yeah, yes.
Definitely.
And then, of course, you as a man, you want to have children, you want to have more sons
Yes.
that carry your name out there.
Yeah, but you see, in the way you look at it is that if you come from a different setup, like you are a chief, if you're a chief and you only have one wife, it is very wrong for a chief to have one wife.
Yes.
It's very wrong.
It's wrong.
Well, we know
It's not
historically
right.
that many of our chiefs have had multiple
Because
wives. Even our former presidents.
How do you control a whole area? You must get women from those villages so that you have a relation with all of them. Yeah. So if you're a chief and you have one wife, that is a very mean
That's
person.
sad.
Yeah, that doesn't work, but that's also part of tradition.
That is kind of sad.
Yeah.
But I will say that I think you made a good point with the difference between men and women. I feel like that men, when it comes to marriage, we know automatically. Like, it doesn't take us long to figure out that this woman is my wife, right? It's like, okay, I see this, and you hear it all the time. You hear a lot of people say, oh yeah, or a lot of women, they say, when he first met me, he said that I was his wife, but I wasn't sure, right?
No, we know.
So,
We
yeah,
know.
so as men, we know, like, instantly, we like, okay, this is the woman that I want to spend the rest of my life with. But on the other hand, like you said, With a woman standpoint, it's kind of like, well, wait as long as you can, you know,
Yeah.
take the engagement as far as it can go, you know, before you can really truly find out if this is the man for you. And I feel like that's where, you know, a lot of conflict comes into play at, especially with this story, with the guy that was waiting 10 years, right? He knew automatically, like, this is the woman I want to spend the rest of my life with, but she was like, hold up, you know, let me take some time and figure this out. 10 years now? That's a little bit too long, but I do understand both sides.
Even women you date, you know who you want to date immediately.
Definitely.
Be right, yeah, guy.
Men, we know.
We know.
We know.
We don't guess.
No, we don't
We
play
don't
around.
guess. Women don't guess.
I even tell my daughter, like, do not even, if a man doesn't come to you, like, saying, look, I want to be with you instantly, look, you are the woman, then he's playing around with you. If he's not coming to you with that type of energy, that straightforward, look, this is who I want to spend the rest of my life with you type of energy, then he's playing around with you. And usually the only way that he will marry you is if he has messed up and you have accepted his mistakes, and that's his last card that he can draw. It's like, okay, this is the last card I can draw, let's get married, you know? And
Yeah.
that's really the only other way he's
That's
going to
also
do
so
it.
wrong. And that's why I was saying engagement, take that engagement as far as you can to gain that certainty that that is the one person. Because
Just don't take too long.
not 10 years, not 10 years.
So I think we agree that 10 years is too long.
Definitely.
100%.
Way
It's
too
too long. And also, you cannot break bad news to a man just before the wedding night.
It could also be the man breaking bad news to his
The guy.
fiancée.
Yeah, but you can.
That happens as well. You know, we've heard about it.
Yeah, don't
but that
tag
is
people along.
no, don't tag people along.
Don't
I
tag
think that's
people
wrong.
along. If you are sure you don't want to get married this guy, just say it long enough. If you're not interested enough, if you just want to date and move on, say it as it is. Do not carry people along with their
Yeah, be
feelings.
truthful.
Yeah, yeah.
No friend zones. Don't do that friend zone.
Huh?
Especially if you like her, don't ever put yourself, and vice versa. If you like him, don't put yourself in a friend zone. Don't allow them to keep you in that friend zone, because it's going to be hard to get out that friend zone. You may not get out that friend zone until 10 years later. So just be careful with that friend zone, you know?
You know, when you're bringing that phrase on, it reminds me, and maybe the younger people know it. There's something in this country which I did abhor. It's called bestie.
Yes.
This thing called bestie.
My bestie.
This thing called bestie, we have to have a conversation about it. This bestie, it's the worst thing to ever happen. For young people, they tell you they're bestie. A bestie, you sleep with your bestie. I've never had such a thing. When you break up with your boyfriend, you go to the bestie. And they're still having sex with their bestie. Surely? What is bestie for? Bestie should be your best friend, not to sleep with. We must cut those lines completely.
I agree.
You remind me when we were filming Housewives.
Yes,
Now, they're mature women
yes,
in the other cast members, right?
yes,
And that's when the word came out non-stop.
yes.
Oh, they're besties. This is my bestie.
Eesh.
All the time, I'm just hearing it like a stuck gramophone. And I'm like, but you are in your 40s. Surely you shouldn't be using this like,
Yeah.
this is a trendy new Sheng word.
Yes.
It's
crazy.
corrupting the language.
It's corrupting, and what I don't like about it is that people who call themselves besties end up sleeping together. That is what I don't understand. I think a best friend is supposed to help you.
It's rough out here, man.
It's rough.
You have to do your due diligence, okay?
Let's end this conversation.
Because that
I
can
think
keep
so.
going.
So, if you are a bestie out there, please do not cross the boundary. Just be a best friend. Hiyo kitu ingine wachana nayo.
Yeah, I would also say in terms of relationships, right?
Yeah.
It's get to know that person properly, you know, find out as much as possible, and also get to know their family as well, because that will determine who that person is.
Very big. I agree. Get to know the family and get to know that person in every season, you know. Get to see that person not only in their happiest moments, but also, you know, in a moment where they're not as happy or they're upset. So then you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. That's my advice with that.
So we've had a long conversation. We've meandered through very many things. Of course, the passport control. We've talked about the lights going off at the JKIA and many other places in the country. We've talked about the weddings and the relationships. Of course, the conversations are always inspiring. It was very, very hot inside here. And of course, Lisa, we cannot wait for 10 years.
We
10
cannot
years
wait
is
for
long.
10 years. No.
So that's why we say, let's be.
Real.
Let's be real.
Let's be
Yes.
real. They cannot wait for 10 years.